Hey guys, welcome to another session of RBTL, or Reading Between the Lines. This is the first video of 2022, and we have our patch update. I want to talk about this because we have the EEs to talk about. In the last EE batch, which honestly felt like the last quote-unquote content patch that we've gotten, it's been pretty slow, and I know it's the new year, so there's stuff that could pick up, especially near the end of the year. And that's usually like Epic 7 schedule. Like the first thing we have is that Kazran, the new Guardian. It was previewed a week ago and now released. I mean, like, it's cool that they put the work into it, but I felt like they should have went for this, like, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago, even 2 years ago. It's just, I think for, I don't know, it feels like in terms of time it took to develop, or time it took for them to get to it, it was not really worth it, because at the end of the day, like, I don't even use Archie really, maybe in Abyss. So I think end gamers might not be thinking that, you know, this is super cool. Anyways, either way, like, maybe there's new PvE content that would require the Guardian buffs that we got, I think, last patch, and then Kazran, so who knows. Either way, this video, I'm gonna try to keep it short and concise, closer to just the EEs, and maybe talking about a couple things that I felt were interesting. And I mean, I am not skipping much. This is the order of the patch notes. Kazran introduced. I think how you can get him, you have to go to this mechanical tower within Rengar world. But the EEs, and two new heroes were revealed today. ML Surmia, so a lot of people were waiting for that, and then the new Ice Thief, Pyrrha. I'll be talking about those in a separate video as I continue to reread, rethink about, you know, what I want to say. So if you're waiting for those, I will release them, but at a later date, okay? So this one will mainly be talking about the EEs and some other updates. First things first, we got Tenebria, or Tenebria, effectiveness of being 16. It does make her pretty good. I do remember the last time I used her, mainly it was in Abyss. Don't remember what floor it was, but it was like the Rooted Pavel floor. And she really came in clutch. With the new EE, I would definitely say that it's even better than the RNG I had to go through, so I think that this is pretty good. In terms of her being used in a PvP scenario, I think maybe we'll see her, I don't know, like, I don't think in World Arena. I mean, a lot of people can build meme characters in World Arena, but when we're talking about the meta right now, there are too many strong selections that I don't think she's gonna get a spot. Maybe we'll see her in an offensive team sometime, but outside of that, I think she'll be very, very good for PvE. Though sleeping from Nightmare, the sleep debuff effect itself usually just isn't good on PvE. So that's what I'm thinking, the outside of that Abyss floor I was talking about. But other than that, you have the S1, which is Dark Explosion. 75% chance to dispel one buff from the target when using Dark Explosion, and this effect is applied before the sleep. So you can sleep them. If you sleep them, you get a CR boost. That's how she works on the S1. But you can dispel it. So, like, but 75%. So it's not perfect there, but I guess it's usable. The dispel comes in handy though, in case that there are. I was remembering Abyss floors where I had to choose between either Atika Scepter to reduce her cooldown quicker, or Isla Violin to be able to strip, and this has just as good as a chance of Isla Violin, I think 5% difference. So it's pretty good, right? So you have it on the EE, and she's a mage, so you can give her another artifact. That's pretty good to have. Nightmare, which is the S3, Soul Burning is extra damage, I think, still. She grants a self-attack buff, AoE Death Break, AoE Sleep. 15% more on the sleep chance for the S3 EE number 1, which gives the sleep 100%. Okay, so 100% sleep chance. It was 85 before the EE, and then 100% after that EE. So if that is useful for you, so again, think about that Rooted Pavel fight in Abyss. That was useful. It would be useful for me right now. Or decreased skill cooldown of Nightmare by 1 turn. So if you're using her in, let's say, the Earth Expo, she'd be pretty good there too. I currently don't use her. I use Baal. So Fireball on Tika Scepter, he has just as quick of a cooldown as she would have on the Nightmare cooldown reduced by 1 turn. I think that's exactly the same actually. But Baal overall is just better for that expo, just because they don't sleep anyway, and he can speed down and stuff like that. So unfortunately, I probably won't be seeing this Tenny or being using Tenny even with the EE until maybe an Abyss floor calls for it in the future. But that's just my thoughts on that one. And then Melissa has always been a PvP hero. We got Curse, which is a debuff that primarily only affects, like, you know, PvP, like heroes, other heroes. It won't work on elites and bosses, if I remember correctly. And you got 12% crit chance. So Melissa always did require quite a lot of stats. I used to run mine on critical hit necklace, but with the 12% crit rate, that can alleviate that in terms of if you're calculating the crit rate neck versus the crit damage neck and how many rolls are missing from it. It is now better to go with a crit damage neck almost for certain, because you have that 12% crit rate. You can also consider her on pen set, which, because she is a single target only character, she'll really benefit from that. You will lose the extra 12% from a critical hit set or an immunity set if you need that extra first turn protection. But I think with how she was designed and her buffs, she's just not really there for some kind of sustaining fight. Because if there's a sustain, you also have to make sure that you remove all the potential heroes that would strip or debuff her in terms of dispel her immortality, that is. So she looks to be, the way I see her used would be kind of like a she's a very strong single target nuker, especially being able to use Curse without missing ice, with always granting an extra turn. Manifestation, which is the S2, is a 1.5 times mod, so that's a very high damage mod. 1.6 is getting to those like extremely crazy nuking level. So if you look at the manifestation first one, so the middle EE there, the extra 10% gives it about a 1.6. We're talking about like Luna level damage. So I'm just thinking like to myself, I've been using Luna for PvP a lot. Not in World Arena. My Luna is built on like an attack boot, so it's like pure damage just to nuke with an Oxlot or Flan or an Amelia at times. But like, can Melissa be built this way? Because she can also strip. She can also strip before the hit. She can apply Curse. She could technically hit 2 targets without even killing. So like, she might have a use there. I'm just thinking about that. Might is the S1. Absorb some of the damage dealt as health when using Might. We'll have to see how much health she gains back, but she does gain more damage as her HP is lowered. So in the sense of that, if you're using to heal anyway, this might have some decent return since it is based on damage dealt. So as like, if you put her on pen set, that will increase the damage, like I said. Have her on the critical hit damage necklace, because the EE is crit rate, so it's actually the lower value now if you go crit rate neck. So all that stuff like make maybe she's a good nuker, viable nuker. I do have a lot of just like speed set gear that has high DPS stats that doesn't have a lot of speed, because I was chasing the speed but it didn't roll into speed. So I think I might try building her, but again in the roles that I know I can get the first turn or something like that. So again, like how I use Luna. If you guys have other ideas, definitely let me know. And then the last S2, Manifestation. When enemy is defeated by Manifestation, increases attack of all allies except they cast for 1 turn. So that's kind of interesting, right? So this kind of goes to that. So sometimes in my fights, I fail to get an attack buff in. So let's say an arena fight or something, I'm using Oxlots with a speed imprint to outspeed the Conqueror Liliuses. I use a Luna and I have another DPS that follows up. Luna's on Merciless Glutton, and My speed imprint usually is either Fire Shuri or Watcher Shuri, depends. But either way, they're on Sasha, so I get a lot of CR boost, and my secondary DPS I can go, right? So, like, usually sometimes I might miss the kill because Oxlots can only attack buff 1. And let's say my secondary is a Hawk or something like that. Then I don't get an attack buff. But let's say if my Theorycraft works and she's kind of used like a Luna-ish, like kill off a target or maybe even 2 targets if you're lucky. Maybe build her full DPS with pen set and then have her on the second manifestation. So if you're confident with your gear, you probably don't need manifestation 1, you can use manifestation 2, and then I get the attack buff for all allies. My Zahak, my Watcher Shuri, whatnot can have an attack buff. It can ensure my kill. So I definitely see that this EE could be used. If people have the gear, I don't have the gear, but if people have the gear and have like a lot of speed DPS gear and they can spread it out, you know, perhaps she'd be viable in some sort of cleave comp as well, and in a RTA fight too. However, I do feel that like she has not been hitting the mark and in World Arena, and I don't believe that any of these EEs change that aspect about her. If you look at like, oh, she gets 12% crit rate and all of the EEs, I don't believe those things will fix her in a World Arena scenario. But I think it makes her usable and in a Guild War offense or Arena offense scenario in the way I painted it. Alright, outside of that, if you're gonna build her as a regular, let's say 250 speed sort of DPS, I think she's still gonna fall short, because then why use her over someone else that can, you know, either give you more survivability over multiple turns, or go for even higher nuking damage. That's my question. So for example, one of my favorite nukers right now, offensively speaking, is Remnant Violet, built on full damage but lifesteal. Because I like the aspect that he can dodge. I'm putting that in air quotes. He can dodge, but the lifesteal also can generate back some HP. So he has that ability. Melissa would have the immortality to play with. So like if I'm gonna compare the nukers, like Melissa's got a set, like for me, got a feeling of like a Luna / Remnant Violet type of feel, in terms of you get a high nuke power, but then you also have potential protection in case you miss the kill. So that's my thoughts on that. Great Chief Kowana, I mean, her original design was to fight Katie's, and I think her EEs just make it even more accessible. I think that this EE granted to ML Kowana is honestly just a testament to that Smilegate or the devs want us to focus on KDs more. Like, they want to make it easier. I mean, Wyvern it's like easier, it gets easier and easier every single new hero almost. And in terms of like even one-shot comps, they're just getting like, you know, 20 different varieties. KDs, last time we got the command model Leica. And she was showcased in the KDs, and she looked like she worked well, and Kawane not getting the EE. It is definitely them telling us, oh yo, focus on some penetration sets or maybe even injury sets or whatnot. But they really want to push us in that direction. As you can see, there isn't really, if you get to my train of thought, there isn't really an improvement in terms of like a golem team for quite a while. So you can kind of see the kind of dev team sway in terms of our decision making. It's just making it easier, which means that they know that it's also important. That's my point. Regardless, the cost is, yeah, it's like usual stuff. So I mean, if you're rolling for them, I kind of think that if I have some spirit gear, Melissa might be my top priority here in this round, but only for fun. I don't think that she's needed. This is the other issue. Like, she's not needed. So in terms of all the EEs, if you really think about it, it's still not like super good. I feel like the last batch was worse than this one. This one, I just feel like, personally, I think Melissa has potential, just because I'm looking for those like two turn high damage nukers, because Luna has been really showing her value to me for a couple months now since her buff. Cerise Guiding Light limited summon, if you don't have her, I think she's still good. I think she's still, like, even if you don't use her in PvP, this is the part where Cerise is really good in my opinion, is that she's really usable in PvE and PvP. I've had Abyss floors that use Cerise. Two of my expos use Cerise, and I think more than the 2 could use Cerise, but I'd only use it in the 2. I use it in Light Elemental and Dark Elemental expeditions, and she's really, really good. Guiding Light, in my opinion, still very, very strong artifact. Milim changed how Guiding Light's effectiveness would play in World Arena, but that doesn't mean that Guiding Light is a bad artifact. It's still a pretty good artifact. Yes, we got other ways to deal with Guiding Light now. We got to see Lilius and all that stuff, but it's still a decent artifact. So if you don't have Cerise, don't have the artifact, I would recommend pulling still. And again, it is limited, so you know, outside of the banner time, you won't be pulling her off banner and stuff like that, whereas other characters you could. But if you do already have her and you're already even curious about this, I don't think you need to be curious. If you already have her, you should be experienced enough to know that I think that the Piera, the new Ice Thief coming, even though she's not limited, she is pretty good too. Depends how you see her. I know that a lot of people are, you know, talking about where her flaws are. I'll leave those thoughts in my dedicated video for her, but outside of that, limited, pick up a Cerise maybe. I don't think I'm going to use the powder for the Guiding Light. I'll see how many bookmarks I can get. Maybe I'll go for one more. Cerise getting triple S is not a bad thing. Like, we're talking about it eventually. Mine is at A, I believe, so I wouldn't mind getting a Cerise or even more Guiding Light. Yeah, that's me. Charles drop rate up. He used to be super cool, but like outside of this right now, maybe MO Charles imprint only. The other thing would be this expedition renewal. I don't believe it's on this page, but there is yeah, it's not on this page. So there's an additional stove page saying that because of the expedition renewal, there is a double poster drop rate event going on. So after Thursday, I believe that's when it will take place. I don't have the page open, but I believe that is the case. So I mean, this is a good time to bank on that. I think this is a decent concept. So basically, now you're able to look at the image down here. So you're able to have different tabs. You have the private recruitment, which will be your guild mates and your friends on your friends list, and you got open recruitment, which will be open to the public. I think this is good for especially newer players. I know how hard it is for like a newer player. Let's say you're rank 30, rank 40, maybe even rank 50, and you don't either your guild is not active and they're all like low ranks, or you're like the ability to be able to find friends to help you out because you're too weak. They don't want to carry you and whatnot. Like there's a lot of variables in that. So this open recruitment is very, very nice to have. I think mainly for players like that. In terms of players like endgame players, I don't believe they're going to be relying on their open recruitment too much. They're most likely going to stick to the private recruitment. So I think the design here is honestly just for kind of newer players or the ease of players who are unable to have reliable players to be able to help hit it. So but they do know that I think even in open recruitment you're still locked. Let me see here, does it say it? I think you're still locked to the amount of hitters that are able to like hit it. So the issue with open recruitment, and this is something that like I have to deal with in the game I work on, is that there's grief players. I've had friends list people and even guild mates, like, you know, they enter and they do 0 damage, but like, you know, depending on the time of the month of the expeditions, like that would just put off anyone from wanting to hit it, you know what I mean? So like, and I'm not saying that those players are griefing, they may have like disconnected or whatever, but there are players like that, or leechers we call them. But the open recruitment portion, like, you're basically just susceptible to all of that stuff anyway. So just to keep that in mind. But it is, I think it is a design step in the right direction, to be honest. And on the fact that you still get rewards if you don't complete it. Like if it fails to complete on time, you still get some rewards. You just don't, you know, build towards the points on your reward tree that gets reset every month. Other than that, improvements, adjustments, showing the drop rate here. I think this is nice to have. It's more consistent because they're adding this everywhere. But this is not necessarily for me to see. Like, I've never sweated what I got, to be honest. But either way, that's nice to have. See here, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. Yeah, for this session of RBTL, or reading between the lines, there is a joke. There is a joke, especially on my stream. People are always joking because I hate reading, or I'm too lazy to read. So if people are just like, yeah, reading between the lines, but then not really, that should be the new segment. But anyways, I'm gonna end that there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below on the new EEs. What do you think about the past couple patches? I'm waiting currently for Guild Inheritance. I'm kind of hungry to just, you know, be able to sit down and then just theory craft, I guess, and play some kind of new content. So Guild Inheritance is kind of where I'm putting my eggs right now in terms of my basket. Hoping that comes out soon and doesn't get delayed. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm gonna end this for the video recording. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.